I've just come from a celebration of the Stations of the Cross down in St Peter and Paul's Church. We walked the ancient way, the 14 stations, walking with Jesus to Calvary, to the cross. And before we started the stations, I invited everybody there to do two things. One, to pray for somebody who they know who is suffering at this time. But I was a bit more specific, because I said we often pray for those who we know and love who are suffering, and quite rightly too. But it's more difficult, more challenging for us to pray for somebody we know who's suffering and maybe we don't like. We find it very difficult to get on with them. And yet there's something important about us doing that. So I ask people to make that an intention as they walked with Jesus to Calvary. And the second thing that I invited people to do was to ask the Holy Spirit to guide them, to choose one particular station that spoke to them particularly as they made the journey with Jesus. And for me this year, it's been that of Simon of Cyrene. I've been listening to a book about the history of Jerusalem by Simon Montefiore, and now I know where Cyrene is or was in North Africa. So Simon must have been in Jerusalem on a journey, presumably on a pilgrimage, and very probably for the Passover. And yet he was caught up in the crowd coming to witness Jesus' crucifixion. And we can get quite misty-eyed about the idea of Simon of Cyrene helping Jesus carry the cross, until we remember that any Roman soldier could commandeer anybody to do something. That's where the origins of Jesus saying, if somebody asks you to go 1 mile, go 2, because a Roman centurion could stop you in the street in Jerusalem at the time and say, you must take this for me for 1 mile. So it's very probable that Simon of Cyrene was commandeered, was press-ganged into helping Jesus carry his cross. And in Mark's account, which I was reading last night, it says, Simon of Cyrene, father of Rufus and Alexander. And it said then in the footnote for that, it said in the Jerusalem Bible, clearly the readers of Mark's Gospel, the community for which he was writing, would have known who Alexander and Rufus were. Because in Luke's account, it says Simon of Cyrene, but no mention of his children. So, Alexander and Rufus. Then it makes you think, well, so Simon was probably going there for the Passover, but this encounter with Jesus, albeit forced, changed his life. And he handed on that change to the next generation. And it made me think that there are times in life when we're, in a sense, forced to carry a cross, and we don't want to do it because we'd like to carry on in our way, the way that we do things. But like Simon of Cyrene, if we do accept the cross, fair enough, begrudgingly at first, but then begin to embrace it, then we will enter into a deeper love. We'll have a deeper meaning to our lives, and we will recognise Christ's presence amongst us on our journey through life. That cross may be the illness of somebody in the family. I say, well, no, I need to just carry on with my life as it is. Maybe reluctantly accept to begin with we need to do more, but gradually over time recognise what a great gift it is to be able to walk with that person in suffering, and have the humility to recognise to begin with that we were doing it grudgingly. It may be an illness that we have, and understandably, very understandably, we all would want to say, I don't want this, I want to just carry on as I did. And yet, if we can accept the cross in that suffering, then we will welcome Christ into that suffering, and he will journey with us. It may be for a parent to be worrying about one of their children, think, I don't need this at the moment. And yet to walk with them, to help them, like Simon of Cyrene. So, Simon of Cyrene speaks to me a lot this year. in the Stations of the Cross. Somebody who, to begin with, probably begrudgingly accepted to help Jesus carry the cross, but when he did, it changed his life, and that change he wanted to pass on to the next generation, to Alexander and Rufus, and that's why they're mentioned in the Gospels as well. Extraordinary detail and story in the Stations of the Cross there.